Hi everyone, I'm going to help you out with using a smartphone and how you can do this first assignment, getting to know your camera using a smartphone. So if you go to my website, I have an example on the website which explains the pictures that I expect for this project. And we're going to start out, we have 11 pictures we're going to take for this. The first one is the picture of the front of your camera, the picture of the back of your camera, the highest ISO, lowest ISO, the fastest shutter speed, slowest shutter speed, smallest aperture, largest aperture, manual setting, monochromatic setting, and then if you have a tripod of some sort for your smartphone, then you can add a picture of the tripod, but that one is optional. Okay, so let's take a look at what we're going to do is figure out how we're going to find a picture of the front and back of your phone that you're using. The reason I want this is so that I have an understanding of the layout of your phone so I can help you and assist you with the rest of your class, and I also understand which phone you're using. It'd be nice if you could label the phone in your presentation as well. So, if you don't have a way of photographing the front or the back of your phone, for this case only, it's going to be okay for you to go to Google Chrome on your phone and do a new tab. And I want you to look for front. Mine is a Google Pixel 1. And search for the image, and we're going to be able to borrow it. Now notice that a lot of these come up with the most recent version. Mine is a Google Pixel 1. And you come over here to images and find a good representation of it. So mine is a white phone. I like this picture right here. Just hold it down and you can share it by emailing it to yourself, or you can just put it straight into Google Drive. Okay, so I'm going to collect these images. Oops, didn't mean to do that. To Drive. And I'm going to call this front and save it into the folder that I already have. And then you want to do the same thing. You want to find the back of your Pixel or whatever phone you're using. Front, and I'm going to say back. Search for it and go to images and find one that looks like it's pretty good. And this is good. I really want to see what the camera looks like on it. So I like this one. Hold it down and I'm going to download it, and I've got it. Okay. All right, so I've collected my first two images, the front and the back of your phone and or camera. And the next one we're going to do is make sure you have downloaded a manual camera app. Now this is up to you on which one you want to use. If we go back to my home screen here, you can see that I have downloaded for free something called ProCam X, and it's the light version. So we're going to open that up, and this is what comes up. Okay? All right. So the first thing we need to do is we need to find out in this where the ISO setting is. And if you click down here to the second to the right, it says ISO, and you click on it, and notice you can scroll it over all the way from auto up to 12,800. Okay, I want you to find the highest one, which is 12,800. I want you to set your setting so it says ISO 12,800. If your setting is different, I need to know that. And I'm going to do a screenshot. So I'll hold it down, take my screenshot, and that's good to go. Okay, so I got that one stored. And I'm ready to do the next item on my list. The next item on my list is the lowest ISO. So auto is not your lowest ISO. Auto means it automatically selects it for you. I want to know if you manually set it. 50 is my lowest ISO. Notice the difference between those two. That gives you a little bit of preview of what we're going to be learning in units further down. So now I've set it to ISO 50. You can see it the second from the right. It says ISO 50, and I'm going to do another screenshot. Okay, so when I'm looking at these pictures, I'm looking at your setting. I'm not looking at the quality of your picture. So as you can see, my picture is very dark. I really don't care about that right now. I just want to know that you can find these settings. Okay, all right, so my next topic is shutter speed. So on the smartphones, you can change your shutter speed. It is very limited though. So shutter speed is represented by the S on the far right. So I click on shutter speed. And notice I have a toggle over here where I can scroll over and change the shutter speed. Okay, the first thing I want to do is find the fastest shutter speed. So shutter speed is represented as a fraction. So think of it as a fraction of a second. So notice it has the S and it has the S at the very end. That means like right now it's viewing 1 over 2027.9 seconds. So that's a fraction of a second. So you want to find the smallest fraction. What is the quickest my shutter speed is going to go to? So I'm going to scroll over as far as I can go. Okay. All right, here is the smallest it goes. 1 over 93,057. That's outrageous. I don't really understand that, how the smartphone does that. I'll be honest. I don't use the smartphone for my photography in a manual way, so this is new to me. So I'm curious on what that looks like. But right now you have that setting as the fastest shutter speed. That's as quick as your shutter is going to be able to open and close. Go ahead, take a screenshot. Good. The next one is we're going to find the slowest shutter speed. So we're going to go all the way to the other end of the spectrum. So slide it all the way over and let's find out how slow it goes. The slowest is 0.7 seconds. So I'm going to go ahead. Notice I can see more in my picture right now. And I'm going to take another screenshot. And I'm going to warn you for everyone, the shutter speed only gets, the slowest it possibly gets is to 0.7 seconds. That is relatively speaking, that is not a very slow shutter speed. So that might pose some problems with some fun experiments that we're going to do in the future. Maybe your manual camera gets lower than that. I'm curious to see how we can do some workarounds. I might have to use your creativity there. As for example, my camera that I have, the DSLR, can do 30 seconds. So that's a lot longer than 0.7 seconds. Okay, so our next one. As you can see on here, there are different options. There's FX, you can see that right here. I'm going to put that back to none. There's FX, there's WB, there's F, which stands for focus. There's EV, ISO, and seconds. Okay, we're not going to really worry too much about FX. We're going to do one little thing with FX in a little bit. WB means white balance. We will be learning about that in one of our units. And then F stands for focus. So just for your own frame of reference, just know you click on that. Right now it's on autofocus. You can change it to M manual focus if you want to. And you can slide this over to manually focus something, which is really nice if you are trying to focus on something really close and the camera doesn't know what you're trying to focus on. So that is something really important for you to know about, is how to do your manual focus. I'm going to keep it on auto for now. And you can see at the top here, I'm just going to show you, we have some other options on the top left. I like to turn this grid on because I like to help it give me some composition. This tells you what kind of file you're going to be creating and the image quality that you have. It looks like you can upgrade to Pro if you want to. And this is your image ratio and photo resolution. So I keep it at the highest resolution I can get. Okay. The second one is the flash setting. And right now it's kind of acting funky. So maybe yours works, mine's not working. And then the middle one is a timer setting. So you can have the self timer set to 3 seconds or 7 seconds or 10 seconds. That's going to be useful for some of our units in the future. And this is if you want H2R. I do not need that right now for what we're doing. And what's this last one? Oh gosh, that takes me out. I don't want to do that. Let's go back to it. All right. So, our next setting that we're going to look at is aperture. Now, as you notice, in this manual camera app, there's no way to play with aperture. And that's the biggest problem with using the smartphones is that you're not going to be able to focus on or create multiple focus effects. We're going to have to simulate it. So this manual camera app doesn't do it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go out of the app and I'm just going to go to my photo app, my camera app, just the standard camera app on my smartphone. And you can see here that I have, this is a Google Pixel. Your camera probably has other fancy features, but mine has something called lens blur. Okay, so I'm going to teach you guys how to use this. This is the Google Pixel. I know that in the iPhone 11, and I don't know which other versions, there's something called the portrait mode, which will do the same thing. So first of all, what I'm going to do is actually go back to the regular camera, and I'm going to do what I would call the smallest aperture, which means everything is in focus. So I'm going to take a picture of my chair. Why not? Notice everything in the picture is in focus. I can click the middle and it will focus, and everything else, the door, the carpet, everything is in focus. So I took that picture. That's going to be my example of my smallest aperture. Now I'm going to move over, swing back around to blur, lens blur. This is a setting on my Google Pixel. I don't know if you all will have something like this on your smartphone. So my lens blur works like this. I focus on the middle object. I hold down here, and then it asks me to raise. That didn't work. So let's try it again. I moved too fast. Watch this. Okay, I focus on it first. There it is. I take the picture, and then it wants me to move it slowly. And I was moving it too fast. Let's try again. This is not the easiest thing in the world. Okay, so I got 3 options here, so I'm going to go look at what they are. It says it's processing the lens blur, and notice it's all in focus right now. And then after it processes the lens blur, it should create an artificial blur in the background. Let's see if it works. It was working earlier. Hopefully your smartphone works faster than mine. I'm getting impatient. Ah, that one worked. Check that out. I kind of like that picture. Okay, so this has created a lens blur artificially, making it look like it's a really short depth of field aperture. So I can do a screenshot of this, or I can just share this image in my email or on my drive. I'm going to put it in my drive, and I'm going to be able to put this in for my project. Okay. Okay. All right, so I have got, let's come back here. I'm going to come back to my app. I have already done front, back, highest ISO, lowest ISO, fastest shutter speed, slowest shutter speed, smallest aperture, largest aperture. Now I have 2 more settings that I need to do, and then 1 optional. Okay, one thing all I want you to do is to be able to show me what your manual setting looks like. So in this one, all I'm asking you to do is to find your app on your phone and just click it, open it up, and this is where I can see all the settings in your manual camera app. Your camera app might look different than mine. So now I want you to just take a screenshot and save that screenshot as an example of your manual settings for your smartphone. Okay? And then the last requirement is to find out how you do the monochromatic setting, which is your black and white setting. We will be using monochromatic setting often. So if you come over to the bottom left, it says FX, which means effects. And you click on it and notice there are many different settings you can do here. I'll just show you. Whoops. Posterize, sepia. I want to find mono, which means monochromatic. Whoops, Sorry about that. Monochromatic. Mono. Okay, so notice it turns my picture black and white. Okay, I want you to take a picture. A screenshot, I apologize. A screenshot showing your monochromatic setting. Oops, I turned off my camera. My phone. There it is. Okay, so all I want you to do is do a screenshot right there, showing me that you are in the effects of monochromatic. And that is the last requirement for this one. The final optional one is if you have a tripod for your phone, or if you have a makeshift tripod or anything creative around the house, I would love for you to take a picture of your phone inside of that tripod. That's just optional. It will not count against you if you do not have it. So those are the 10 pictures I want you to take. The best way to move these images over is to go to your photos, all the photos that you've taken. Go to your photos. You can see it was my birthday recently. And like here's a photo right here, and I want to share it. You just click the share button. Make sure you have Google Drive saved, and you can just put it right into your folder for photo 1. I have mine going to a different folder right now, but you would just choose your folder for photo 1. So I'll let you guys organize that yourself, but as you can see here, I should have a photo 1. Oh, I have to go into my high school first. High school courses, photo, and I should have a photo. There it is, photography 1. And that's where I'm going to put all my images, right inside of there. This is called the camera. Okay, you'll select this folder and then add it to here, select. Okay, thanks for listening. Let me know if you have any more questions. And every phone is going to look a little bit different, so I'm curious to see how yours turns out. Thank you.